She somehow managed to make it out with only some minor cuts and bruises.
You being there for him and him being there for you. Yeah, at one point I was a light for him.
Yeah, I think it's bad karma. As much as I believe in karma, I believe that's bad. I think if you intentionally do something that someone who's a good person...
Man, this whole situation...
So here's what just went down that has everyone talking. Jake Paul took a massive hit in this devastating car wreck in Dorado, Puerto Rico, and honestly, the whole thing feels surreal. This is the same guy who's been constantly chasing Anthony Joshua, stirring up all kinds of drama, building hype wherever he goes, and then suddenly this crashes down on him. It's like the universe finally decided to balance the scales, you know. This wasn't just some random mishap either. It's hitting like this wake-up call that what you put out there eventually comes back around. And while Anthony Joshua kept himself protected, staying locked in on his preparation, showing that champion-level focus that separates the real deal from wannabes, Jake Paul finds himself dealing with pure chaos that he basically invited into his life. Boxing fans everywhere are completely floored as this story explodes across every platform, with reactions pouring in about this wild and honestly unthinkable twist.
Jake Paul's a fraud in terms of boxing, but worse than that, after all his hype about what he was going to do to Joshua, what did we see? We saw a cowardly display from a guy who shouldn't be anywhere near.
Joe Rogan breaks it down with this mindset that honestly makes complete sense when you keep operating with sketchy motives the way Jake Paul has been doing. Reality has a way of catching up eventually. It's like there's this cosmic ledger keeping track and you wind up pulling all this negativity toward yourself that no amount of promotion can fix. And now we're seeing it happen right in front of us. Paul's crash down in Puerto Rico feels like precision karma finally making its move. At the same time, you have Anthony Joshua walking this completely focused route, demonstrating to everyone the massive gap between respecting your sport and your existence versus running wild without boundaries. Paul finds himself staring down serious blowback from his own choices, the type of fallout that YouTube numbers and Instagram clout absolutely cannot shield you from.
I don't know what it means. So I don't think that necessarily, like, if you do something will happen to you.
Yeah.
But I do think that if you do something evil, you're aware that you do something evil, and I think your existence is poisoned because of that. And I think you will forever run into bad situations because you will be filled with bad thoughts and bad energy, and
you take on like a psychic cancer.
Yeah.
That attracts other.
Yes, I think that's real.
Logan Paul breaks down completely, actual tears streaming, over this devastating news about his brother Jake Paul's crash, which tells you everything about how dangerous and life-threatening this whole situation actually became. We're not dealing with some small bumps and scratches here. This moment puts a spotlight on the real price of living without caution, making reckless moves, and it creates this sharp comparison with how Anthony Joshua handles everything through structure, strategic thinking, and real concern for his well-being and future. Supporters worldwide sit stunned, witnessing Jake Paul confronting the harsh aftermath of decisions that didn't have to happen. Jake Paul finally meeting the payback for his own mayhem feels almost cinematic, like something scripted for Hollywood. The universe has finally settled accounts with him, and honestly, there's something satisfying about the timing after all that wild promotion he generated. All those challenges, all that effort spent hunting down Anthony Joshua for that big money showdown when focus and commitment win every single time in this game. Paul discovers these brutal truths the hardest way imaginable, while the boxing community watches in total shock.
You're an absolute idiot. There was no reason for, first of all, you go to jail. Why would Netflix, the biggest streaming platform in the world, partake in anything like that? Just use your brain. And MVP.
Johnny Nelson jumps in to emphasize that this whole thing goes way beyond boxing rivalry or internet feuds between athletes. We're dealing with real human safety on the line here. Jake Paul's crash works like this brutal reality slap for everyone watching, and it shows this dramatic difference with Anthony Joshua's structured, thoughtful, and truly secure handling of both his profession and his daily choices. This becomes a critical time for supporters to really pause, breathe deep, and understand that dangerous actions away from the spotlight, the moments that don't make viral content can create results that are way more devastating and permanently damaging than any punch or online controversy ever could.
This is serious. This is a serious situation, so you've got to forget that now. This is somebody's son. These are somebody's son. This is somebody's life. These boys have lost their lives. So people need to just put the boxing thing to one side.
Multiple stories keep surfacing trying to somehow connect Jake Paul's crash back to Anthony Joshua like they're building this conspiracy angle, but reality becomes obvious when you examine what actually happened. Paul's dangerous choices, his poor judgment calls, his constant hunger for spotlight and disorder finally caught him in the most brutal way possible. While the entire planet watches this madness spiral around Jake with breaking news everywhere and every social platform losing its mind, Joshua's preparation and self-control keep shining through like this guiding light. This powerful difference shows everyone precisely why planning ahead, taking ownership, and choosing wisely both in the gym and in regular life creates all the separation between a real professional and someone just pretending to be a fighter.
I hear what you're saying. You're probably saying, what the hell has this got to do with Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul? Well, this is where it gets...
Joe Rogan emphasizes just how barely, how unbelievably close Jake Paul came to avoiding catastrophic or potentially deadly results here, and that exposes the complete level of carelessness that created this dangerous situation from the start. This works as a harsh awakening that bad judgment, reckless moves made away from the ring, outside the spotlight and training facilities can become way more hazardous and deadly than anything that might ever happen inside a boxing match with protection on and officials monitoring. Anthony Joshua's structured lifestyle, his real commitment to protection, his understanding of outcomes, all of this demonstrates precisely why he deliberately stays away from these potentially fatal dangers that come from living without limits.
I mean...
That's bonkers. Thank God he didn't have a seatbelt on. I never say that. Thank God he didn't have a fucking seatbelt on, because if he did...
There's no way.
He would be dead.
This whole mess honestly represents a flawless demonstration of consequences, finding Jake Paul in the most intense way you could imagine. His reckless actions through the years, his endless efforts to antagonize Anthony Joshua with insults and demands, everything has now exploded dramatically in ways nobody saw coming. While Jake lies in some hospital room, confronting the very serious aftermath of his own decisions, handling injuries, and likely reconsidering many life paths, Anthony Joshua stays completely protected, keeping his structure, remaining locked on his skill and his preparation. This difference reveals something essential that every boxing supporter needs to grasp. This sport isn't just about carrying knockout power, landing big shots, or building massive social following. It's basically about taking responsibility, getting ready, staying disciplined, and choosing smartly away from it. Supporters watching this develop can obviously see that dedication, real commitment, and true structure actually divide the greats from the fakes in this business. Moving past that, people who destroy their foundation through bad habits don't recover easily. Jake Paul's complete fixation with getting payback against Anthony Joshua, with proving his worth to the boxing community, has driven him directly into major danger. Now consequences have sent this harsh, unforgiving lesson that you can't fake commitment and think you'll escape forever. While Paul heals in some hospital room, likely thinking about all his decisions and questioning how everything went sideways, Joshua's steady, unshakable commitment to boxing greatness and keeping structure keeps delivering in every possible way. This situation reinforces what real boxing supporters have understood forever, that the wild behavior of internet personalities turned athletes simply can't compete with the skill, planning, and real respect that true champions contribute to this sport. AJ's composed, reliable method for everything keeps him protected, honored, and dominating his division, showing again that ability combined with accountability and intelligence always defeats showboating, marketing, and social media tricks.
But Paul is still standing, taking the right uppercut. Best shot at the moment. Not that much is going to happen. And it almost, oh, there's a left hook. Oh, my God! Down goes Paul!
6, 7, 8, 9.
You know, I give Jake Paul credit for stepping in there in the first place, going 6 rounds. All those people that says if this doesn't get past the first round, it's a loss for Anthony Joshua. He did what he was supposed to do, but we also give
Tommy Fury goes all out in exposing Jake Paul's complete absence of legitimate standing in boxing, and this crash only confirms what everyone in the fighting community has figured out already. Paul's popularity, his whole platform, gets built on internet content, trending clips, and social drama, not actual boxing talent, not years of commitment and training, not real fighting skill. Meanwhile, Anthony Joshua's workout routine, his structure, his legitimate fighting talent, and years of competition at elite levels separate him in ways that can't be manufactured. Paul's errors on the street, this careless crash, they perfectly reflect his lack of readiness in competition, while AJ's intense commitment and earned expertise demonstrate exactly why real boxers gain respect through steady performance, commitment, and outcomes, not through internet stunts, talking trash, or chasing fame at risky expense to their own protection and futures. Supporters can obviously see the huge gap between a genuine, credible athlete who's earned his position and someone just hunting for attention.
You are a YouTuber. You ain't a boxer, mate. This guy never took a punch. He's never took one serious punch. Here's what he's took of Anderson Silva. And he's done this. What is that?
Logan Paul's own story of Jake Paul literally pleading during difficult fights shows just how truly unprepared and recklessly overconfident Jake really becomes when he faces legitimate opponents in that ring. While Paul's antics keep grabbing attention and creating buzz on social platforms, Anthony Joshua's steady commitment to structure, skill building, and real boxing mastery keeps separating him from everyone else in the heavyweight ranks. This undeniable difference proves that no amount of attitude, no amount of internet fame, or video subscribers can ever substitute for real boxing ability, years of training, and actual competition at championship level, and that overconfidence mixed with dangerous choices can create humiliating and truly risky results both during fights and in regular situations.
When Anthony Joshua would lean on Jake, he would go to his knee. Most people thought, oh, Jake's trying to take him down. I saw this in sparring and I asked him, I was like, why do you keep going to your knee when the big guy is above you and leans on you? He said, they're so heavy. Me trying to hold them up wastes so much energy. If I'm under them and they start leaning on me, I'm just going to drop to my knee. Because why would I waste energy trying to keep them up for what purpose other than to get exhausted?
Jake Paul's expanding image as someone who attacks others, as someone who destroys people, and honestly as a failure in the opinion of real boxing supporters, keeps backfiring on him in the most visible ways imaginable. And now reality gets revealed for everyone to witness clearly. His dangerous actions, his frantic efforts to challenge legitimate fighters like Anthony Joshua, who compete at completely higher standards, have finally collapsed spectacularly. AJ's calm, structured, professional method for everything keeps proving exactly why he stands as a real champion who earns respect throughout the boxing community. Supporters everywhere can see perfectly that marketing and internet popularity are completely worthless compared to real skill, actual preparation, years of serious training, and genuine accountability. Paul's constant mistakes work as this harsh public example of what happens when you let pride and carelessness control your choices. John Fury's sincere, heartfelt message reminds everyone listening just how close Jake Paul really came to total catastrophe, to something that might have destroyed his career or his life, while Anthony Joshua stays secure, protected by his intelligent choices, and concentrated on what truly counts. This situation reinforces everything about AJ's structured approach, his dedication to readiness, and the huge importance of choosing wisely every single day. While Paul heals from this crash, managing injuries and probably reliving everything mentally, Joshua supporters globally get reminded exactly why real champions truly respect their craft, respect their own well-being, and see the complete picture. It becomes a powerful, meaningful example of responsibility that everyone can absorb, demonstrating that popularity and showboating, regardless of how loud or flashy, cannot save you from the very serious risks that careless behavior always brings into your world.
God bless you, AJ. You're one lucky lad. God bless you, man. I'm glad you're alive again. Shocked me, it has. Terrible.
So anyway, stay safe everyone, and try to make the most of what's ahead. Eddie Hearn's real worry and concern shows just how dangerous Jake Paul's crash actually became, reminding everyone in the boxing world that careless behavior away from the ring, outside the safe space of organized competition, can create permanent life-altering results that no money or celebrity status can reverse. While Paul basically depends on sheer chance to prevent major career-destroying injuries from his thoughtless choices, Anthony Joshua's structured lifestyle, his commitment to preparation, training, and smart decisions, reveals the huge obvious gap between a professional fighter who takes everything seriously and an internet celebrity who's pretending to be an athlete. AJ's dedication to safety, to proper training methods, and to personal accountability has protected him completely from danger throughout his whole career, proving that talent by itself means nothing without wisdom, maturity, and real respect for life. This crash works as a reality check for Paul, and a serious warning to everyone watching that champions build their success both in competition and outside it through consistent, intelligent choices. Supporters can obviously see the risk of overconfidence, of believing you're untouchable, and the massive
value of living a disciplined, thoughtful life.
But again, I don't know, so I don't want to say that, but I'm hoping that some of the news we're hearing that he, it doesn't look like he has any major injuries is true. And that would be fantastic, and obviously be a very lucky boy.
Chase Demmer's message,
This highlights life's unpredictability and how rapidly everything can shift in seconds, something Jake Paul learned firsthand in the most devastating way imaginable. While Paul confronts serious fallout from choosing recklessly, from existing without considering the dangers, Anthony Joshua keeps showing the critical importance of concentration, structure, and real respect for this sport and for existence itself. AJ's capacity to dominate the heavyweight ranks while consistently preventing needless risks proves exactly why he stands as a genuine role model for boxing supporters globally. This difference shows the enormous distance between publicity-focused personalities who prioritize spectacle and real champions who truly understand what's on the line. Supporters witnessing this can obviously see that preparation, awareness, and responsible actions matter just as much as raw talent or physical gifts. AJ's structured method for everything guarantees he stays in total command both during fights and in daily life.
More said, I hope and pray that Anthony Joshua is okay. Life happens so fast. 1 minute on top of the world, the next not. Stay safe, boys. Let's finish this year.
Eddie Hearn repeats his hope that Jake Paul avoided serious lasting injuries, really emphasizing how fragile life becomes outside competition, where no officials exist to intervene when things go wrong. While Paul's carelessness and poor awareness have created real danger for him, Anthony Joshua's structure, his organized schedule, and his deep commitment to safety demonstrate the characteristics of a true professional who grasps what matters. AJ's concentration on proper training, complete preparation, and smart decision making at every moment contrasts sharply with Paul's dangerous antics and attention-seeking actions, proving that ability without wisdom, skill without maturity, leads to complete disaster. This situation works as a powerful lesson to supporters everywhere that boxing involves so much more than throwing punches or having stopping power. It's fundamentally about structure, self-awareness, and making choices that protect both your career and your actual existence. Anthony Joshua's example stands out as this perfect model of professionalism and respect.
Responsibility that everyone should aspire.
But again, I don't know, so I don't want to say that, but I'm hoping that some of the news we're hearing that he, it doesn't look like he has any major injuries is true. And that would be fantastic, and obviously be a very lucky boy.
Anthony Joshua reflects deeply.
This focuses on his development and the real sacrifices he's made to put boxing excellence and family before everything else. A sharp difference from Jake Paul's reckless actions and terrible judgment that created his crash directly. AJ's self-knowledge, his mature thinking, and his capacity to plan ahead have protected him and kept him intensely focused on continued achievement, showing that real champions handled both their careers and personal situations with responsibility and wisdom. Paul's repeated failures highlight the serious results of ignoring advice from experienced mentors, of skipping proper preparation, and of lacking basic sense. Supporters can see with total clarity that genuine greatness in boxing gets built on discipline, sacrifice, and crystal clear understanding of what matters in life. AJ's journey reinforces why he stays respected and unreachable both in competition and in life, and why chance alone, no matter how much you get, can never replace wisdom and proper planning.
I realized that I was working away from home. I was spending time with my friends. and my wife wasn't happy. So I had to kind of look at the decisions I was making, and I had to come back home to boxing, and I had to sacrifice, I had to take a look at my life, make necessary changes to put my love back to.
Jake Paul's car crash in Dorado, Puerto Rico works as this harsh, sobering lesson that recklessness away from competition, making careless choices in everyday situations, can create life-changing results that alter everything permanently. While Paul barely avoided serious injury, and honestly came closer than most people understood, it reinforces the massive difference between him and Anthony Joshua, whose structured lifestyle, unwavering concentration, and careful preparation have kept him at the absolute peak of heavyweight boxing for years. Supporters now speculate and argue intensely about what this means for future matchups and potential showdowns, with Joshua's perfect timing, crushing power, and tactical awareness giving him an undeniable advantage over an internet personality turned fighter who has repeatedly underestimated the risks of both boxing and life itself. This situation also creates important questions about responsibility, proper training, and mental preparation, proving that luck cannot substitute for skill or structure regardless of how often you gamble. For Anthony Joshua, this represents an opportunity to further display his professionalism and mental strength, reminding the entire boxing community why he remains a true champion who commands supporters eagerly anticipate seeing how Joshua uses this moment, both mentally and in competition, as he prepares for future battles that will shape his legacy. Can Jake Paul ever bounce back from this and return to face a real heavyweight like AJ? Drop your thoughts below, share your opinions, and join the conversation about who really deserves the spotlight in boxing.